Thank you very much. Do you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, you are. Hello, I'm Kuba. I'm the president of Silesian Startup Foundation and also the head of venture building in Kobrik, the startup house supporting startups at each stage of growth. And I would like to welcome you here in Katowice. I know that there are people from all over Poland. Some of you are from abroad. So it is really nice to see you here. Yesterday we had a sold out, so I really believe that this free place is going to be full in a few minutes. But for this moment, I really would like to, as I said, warm welcome you. Thank you that you are here, that you find your pressure time to be here. I just want to say that we've got 14 speakers from all over the world, because there are the speakers from seven countries, four continents. So I believe that the education part of this conference is going to be perfect. But I also believe very much that networking is going to be very successful, because for me, networking is the most important part of each conference. So I just want to show you 4 organizers of this conference. As I said, I'm representing Silesian Startup Foundation, non-government organization supporting startups and businesses in growing. But I also represent Kobrik, startup house supporting startups at each stage of growth, starting from the idea and going to the scale-ups level. But I would also like to say big thanks to Silesian Voivodeship and in Silesia, so the business part of the Silesian Voivodeship, because they were support us a lot during the partners and about the organization things. One important thing for smokers, you don't have to go up. There is a smoke area in the front of the cloakroom, so if you need it, you can use it. Okay, Gosia, it's your time.
Okay, good morning, everyone. You have to have it because I don't have hands. But yeah, first one organizational information. For those who have this little device, I'm going to switch to Polish because I assume that you wanted to have it just to understand what's going to be said during the whole conference. Więc wystarczy tak naprawdę tutaj nacisnąć ten mały przycisk. Powinien być numerek 1 się wyświetlać na tym małym tutaj ekranie i wtedy będzie słyszalne tłumaczenie na język polski wszystkich prezentacji, które się dzisiaj będą działy na wydarzeniu. Okay, so about the partners. So yeah, our main partners who supported us to organize everything is the city of Katowice and Drava Inc., which is the incubator of city of Katowice, the agency Heroes, and the 4th one is Meetlify, which is providing us with the application for networking. If you don't have it yet, you should install it. And then we have slides, 3 slides of supporting partners. It's around 30 entities from all over the world as well. It's not only from Poland, but also from at the international level, who are supporting us in this event. But actually, I know that there were more people who were engaged in promoting and helping us. So I really want to thank all of you, because it's basically you made this event such great, and I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay, and this time, Habib. Be welcome on the stage. Habib is going to be our host on this event, and he is going to answer all your questions from the stage. Of course, I believe that you are going to send people some jokes.
Hopefully. I've been told I can say 3, so I have to use them wisely. Hey guys, pleased to meet you.
Okay, yeah. Habib, I'm leaving the stage. Good luck.
Pleased to meet you guys. I'm Habib. I will be your host today, and I will lead you through this experience of AIBA Conference. So first of all, I would like to say that this agenda of this conference has been optimized by AI. So from announcements, we will try to stick to the schedule. Otherwise, we can anger our AI masters. So we don't want that. But 5 years ago, We were all astonished by the Google Duplex that showed us how it can call the local businesses and make some appointments. 5 years later, we really hate AI services provided over the phone. Our smart vacuums are only good with traumatizing our pets. Every day we read about AI driving into something with Tesla. So we're here to make a little sense out of it, to figure out if we can make this AI technology useful. So I would like to welcome you on AI Business Adoption Conference, the conference where we BA the AA with no BS. The first panel is introductory panel. So if you ever wondered if androids can dream of electric ships, if you ever wondered can AI hallucinate, or if you ever wondered how it actually is to be an AI, you have a great spot for introductory ride with Wojciech Gruszczyk from Kobrik. Welcome him on stage. Bravo. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Habib. Good morning, Katowice. So we're going on an adventure in search of a common language. My name is Wojciech Gruszczyk. I'm a product manager at Kobrik Observe. At Kobrik Observe, we are building a tool for DevOps in Kubernetes world, which is based on machine learning and AI methods. It's an advanced thing, right? So I will not continue talking about it. If you want to know more about myself, just go to my LinkedIn profile, invite me, let's make friends, right? So that's going to be fun, I promise. Privately, I'm keen endurance sports, fun, yeah. So triathlon is my thing, running. I'm a father of 3 kids, if that's important to you. Anyway, I don't know if you have idols. In fact, I have one. My biggest idol in science is Richard Feynman. Richard is a famous physician. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. He participated in the Manhattan Project. They created the atom bomb, and it's a great man. He's also an educator in science in general, so he's a great personality. Unfortunately, he's already dead. You should read the book. Surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman. It's a great read about a great man, even if you're not into physics. So Richard made one interesting point. He said that people very often talk about concepts, about complex things. People use definitions. They refer to scientific terms. But there's one thing that people don't do. They don't understand. So they memorize everything, but they absolutely don't know what they are talking about. And if you take a look at this simple example, GPT and ChatGPT, is it the same thing or not? For some it is, for some not. What's the ground truth, right? So that's an open thing. Current world is complex. We have business, we have development, we have scientists, and if you take a look at the 3 groups, business people talk about value, about features, about customers. Usually they are poor coders. From my past, I'm a Java developer, so I would say average developer, right? Not that poor. These people avoid waste, they avoid risk. Developers, well, these guys really love code, right? They code, and code again. They tend or pretend to understand business. Like we got used to each other, right, over time. And there is science. Scientists are curious people, so they really love to research, they love puzzles. Their mother tongue is mathematics. These guys are truly poor coders, I have to admit. I haven't met one great coder in this group, to be honest. Just in private observation. And they are in love in science, right? So they don't accept deadlines. No, that's not them. If you take a look at the cooperation, business and development, they talk to each other pretty well. Scientists and developers too. When you think about scientists and business, well, here the thing is a bit more complex. It's more difficult, basically. We haven't got used to each other yet. So my goal for today is to give you a toolkit, a tool set, for effective communication between the 3 groups. Never mind if you're in business, in development, or in science. I want to give you the ground knowledge so that you will be able to effectively communicate with the others. Yeah, so let's start with the basic, right? Artificial intelligence. So what intelligence is? The first thing that you have to know is that intelligence is all about gaining knowledge and applying the knowledge in new situations, in new contexts. Usually that's attributed to human beings and animals, right? If we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're trying to give this attribute to machines or software in general. So let's take a look at a simple example. In this table, you can see the age and the height of Polish girls aged 2 to 12. Very simple thing, right? If you visualize the data like that, that's called like linear regression. It's an approximation of the data that you see in the table. Well, you have your first machine learning model, right? That's already able to deduct something from the data. The line approximates the data, but it also allows you to make predictions. So what would be the average height of a, I don't know, 8-year-old girl? Seeing that, you would guess it's around 125 centimeters. Pretty good, right? Pretty good estimate. And here we go. That's already a machine learning model. Machines could guess the height of 8-year-old girl, right? I get it. Some people are traveling here from Brazil, so it's a bit dull, right? To just see a straight line, right? So let's cut to the chase, right? Artificial neural networks. That's the meat of current AI. Everything in AI is built around artificial neural networks. So what is it? An artificial neural network is a mathematical object that has, well, it has the neurons, the dots, and connections. It can be dense, it can be scarce, whatever. So options are endless, right? But what it always has is the input, is the output. Like we call this layers. And also there is a hidden part. We call it hidden layers. That's responsible for the heavy thinking. If there are lots of such hidden layers, we call it deep learning. Big word, right? But in the end of the day, it's as simple as that. It's not, right? But it's just an approximation. So what can it do? If you think about an image, and if you think that you can express that image or describe this image with a vector, vector is a set of numbers, so to say. Well, this thing can, for example, guess that it's a cat and not a dog. Not very impressive at a glance, but if you tasked your programmer to write a piece of software that would be able to detect and tell cats from dogs, well, he would struggle. That's not a simple thing. So what artificial neural networks do is they actually learn. As our brains, they're neuroplastic, so if you show them images of cats and dogs labeled, they would be able to create a special function in the, let's call it brain, that will be able to detect cats from dogs, right? So if you think about practical applications, we have a lot of them, probably you can name them. It's forecasting, it's NLP, it's speech recognition, classification, and the very famous generative AI, so generation of new content, right? So people already made a lot of money with them. All right, but is it the silver bullet for everything that we are doing? Well, if you take a look at what's needed to build a good AI software, you need three things. You need domain knowledge, you need AI knowledge, and you need data. I believe, and that's visible in my experiences, if you have gaps in knowledge, be it the AI knowledge or the domain knowledge, it's not the end of the world. You can buy it, you can learn it, that's possible. If you don't have quality data, no AI will ever work. Without quality data, you can't build any significant working model. So that's the first lesson. You need to have good data to think about AI projects. There are also challenges, right? So randomness, hallucination bias, IP protection, cost, performance, you can name more problems related to AI. I call it challenges. And I want to introduce you to those, because we very often talk about them, but not many people understand it well. So, first of all, let's take a look at hallucinations. We all know, right? You see the mushrooms, right? What hallucinations are. But think of this question. Who was the sole survivor from Titanic? Who was the sole survivor? So GPT, that's GPT 3.5, the free version. So it says, yeah, Charles Juggin was the sole survivor. In fact, Charles survived the catastrophe. He was a chef on Titanic. But hey, there were 700 more people who survived the catastrophe. So it lied, right? If you believe it, well, at a glance, this information looks pretty well. But if you take a second look, unfortunately, it's a lie. But okay, maybe it's GPT, right? So I thought, let's take a look at Midjourney. Midjourney is a tool for generating images. So I asked the same question. And here we go, that's what it created, right? For goodness sake, this gentleman had drowned on that day. I saw it, right? And yeah, it's for sure not true. Okay, another example is, who was the only man on the moon? That's a very similar case, right? According to GPT, it was Neil Armstrong, right? Yeah, if you're in conspiracy theories, you might say, no one was there. If you believe NASA a bit more, it's 12 people, right? So again, no single man walked the moon. It was at least 12 people who did that. Again, Midjourney, and yeah, that's how it visualized the moon. If you're a little bit into English, the moon, capital M, right? That's our moon. That's the moon that's going around the globe. Well, does it look like that? Definitely not, right? So hallucinations are very common, and you have to be very careful while talking to tools like GPT, because they make up things, basically. Next thing I wanted to talk is bias. I focused on what Midjourney can generate for me, because it's generating 4 images after each question. So I asked it to imagine 2 things: scientist and a firefighter. Take a look at the scientists. Whom do you see? It's a white male in his 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. No women. Women are better educated in Poland. There are no women. Yeah, you tell the rest. Firefighter. Well, here we have 1 woman. I don't know if that's well visible. There's 1 woman. But according to statistics, only 4% of professional firefighters in Poland are women. Right? So probably they played a little bit with the model to show women firefighters. But take a look at nurses. I'm not a native speaker of English, as you can hear, right? And that's what I got. So I was wondering, is there a word for a male nurse? No, there is no. Male nurse is, you have to say it, male nurse. Then it might generate you male. But take a look at the women. They're all young, beautiful, red lipstick, the braid, take a look at it. It has erotic twist, right? For sure. It is like that. And if you take a look at the big nurse, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you might still recognize that lady. She doesn't look like that. And that's not a typical nurse, right? But what it generated. Now, question to you. What was the query? Just say it loud, everyone. You got it, you nailed it. Terrorist. Stereotypes, prejudices related to race, to gender. Everything that we have in our brains and we have in our data will be magnified, amplified, multiplied by those models. So we have to be very careful with the data. Third thing is randomness. Take a look at the simple example. You're an owner of an e-commerce website, and you have a customer who just stuck during the checkout. He says, I'm stuck, I need help with the form. And imagine that you have an AI that will be trying to help the customer. What might happen? Take a look at 3 cases. In this case, the customer would be probably pretty happy. He was answered quickly, he was served, and the question is to the point, which form? So it's helpful. But does it have to be like that? Well, no, not necessarily. It might answer like that. Well, it's a mediocre answer, right? The customer will not be happy with that. As a business owner, probably you don't want this kind of answers to turn up. And how about this one? Yeah, even worse, right? No one wants this answer. And I'm pretty sure that would be the first thing you will see on Twitter if it happens. Oh, sorry. All right. So let's take another example. Let's think of a travel agency. And you're trying to sell a surfing spot. What you might get from an AI is these 2 images. The one on the left, well, it's a pretty good marketing material, right? it's sunny, people are going to surf, there are waves, there's a nice beach. The other image, well, it's different, right? It's of low quality, very crowded, no waves, not a cool thing for marketing a surfing spot, right? So because of the randomness, it is very difficult to automate processes that use the generated content, right? Okay, are we doomed? Well, fortunately not. There are methods to fight with that. And let's take a look at three methods. The first, the very well-known prompt engineering. Take a look at the simple question. What is artificial intelligence? Well, obviously, AI would answer you. But if you want to have it more precise, what you can do is to actually create a prompt. For example, if you tell the machine that you're a teacher to a 5-year-old kid, use simple words, use analogies to toys. In this case, what you will get created is an answer that uses things that the kid knows, right? Smart, robot, learn, cartoons. At the same time, if you ask it to behave differently, like you're a specialist, you're an expert in AI, you're talking to a mathematician with a PhD, the language would be different. Complex words, mimicking, ML, neural networks, longer answer, right? Prompt 3, you're a good friend of an old lady, you don't want to scare her. And again, the language will be different. It's like, I don't know, my dear, help us, right? These are the words that you would rather use to convince someone in his 60s, 70s, right, that AI will not kill us tomorrow. Even, you might recognize Bender, even if all the AI wanted to say is just, bite my shiny metal ass, right? That's what Bender liked to answer. So if you make good prompts, it will not answer like that. Another thing, another very common approach to fixing the problems that I mentioned is fine-tuning. So imagine a model like GPT that's trained on data from the internet. Such models can answer questions asked by the customers pretty well, but usually that's only focused on the common knowledge or on the knowledge from the internet. If you have internal knowledge or internal rules, you might try to push the data to the model. So you show it additional set of data. You maybe fix some attributes, some parameters of that model. In this case, the answers that the user will get will be enriched, they will be better. Maybe they will be more to the point, maybe there will be new information that normally it would not be able to give you. But there are problems related to it. How was the information chosen? Is it from the common knowledge? Is it from your specialist knowledge? What's the source of the information? Should I show this information to you? Is it confidential? Maybe in your context you shouldn't be given that information. Is your IP secured? These are obvious questions, especially if you think about hosted models that anyone can reach from the internet. Read the contracts. I think there'll be more about it later today. Great example. ChatGPT and GPT. Is it the same thing? Well, no. ChatGPT, it's just an application built on top of the GPT model. It uses a subset of parameters, it's filtered. You can't ask it how to build an atomic bomb or produce drugs, right? It will not tell you. So it's an application built on top of something bigger. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's a big model with billions of parameters, really complex thing, multimodal model, right? So these are not synonyms. Now we know why. Last example is the retrieval augmented generation. If you think about pre-trained algorithm and all the problems from the previous slide, you might want to do it differently. So you have the pre-trained model, like GPT, you have internal knowledge, but you don't want to push that into that model. What you can do is you can always index the data in your database. It's a special database, it's a vector database. Don't bother with that, I'll come back to that in a second. And what can happen now? So you have your user that's asking a question to your service, but you don't want to go directly to the model. You want to enrich the answer with something more. So you can pass that question to the database, or you can use your database to query with that question. And in return, you will get some specific information that relates to the question. And only having that, you pass the question with the extra information to the model, it answers, and you pass it to the user. This way, you're not training the model with your data. Again, read the contracts. At least in here, you're not doing that. and you keep your IP secure. The big problem of this approach is the representation of the knowledge. It's, again, represented as vectors. You saw that in one of the first slides where I presented the image. So again, each piece of information can be represented as a vector. It's mathematical representation. It says, okay, this information is here. That information is here. That information there. And if you have a question, it will be placed somewhere, let's say here. So these two information, or the information and the question, are in proximity. In this case, the information that's close to the question might be relevant to answer with, right? That's pretty obvious. Unfortunately, if you think about prepositions, about broader context, this approach is very mechanical, I would say. And because of that, the chosen answers are not always correct because the information that was given, that was chosen, is irrelevant. So it's a big dispute now in the AI world, how to do it well, how to improve the methods, and how to fight those problems in general. All right, a summary. AI tools are great, but not perfect, at least not yet. They will soon be, right? You see that. It's constant improvement. It's really going into the right direction. What's wrong with you? Okay, quality data is the fuel of any AI. We talked about it. It's important to memorize that. That's one of the big things. If you want to build anything in AI and you don't own quality data, just forget about it. And guys, stay curious, right? AI is the big thing. It's about time, to start learning. If you haven't started yet, you're in good place right now. So yeah, continue. Please continue. That's all I prepared for today. If you want to meet me or my friends from Kubrick, you can meet us at the booth. So we are keen on talking about AI in general, about Kubrick as well. So yeah, that's it. Take a photo or scan the QR code. I have my personal goal for today to make 100 new friends on LinkedIn, so please don't disappoint me today. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I can take it. Now I have too much. We need these robots now. Okay, guys, so now we know that the most famous models are not to be found on Instagram. They would rather be found somewhere in a safe location, probably underground in some servers of big tech giant companies. But now we had some principles, we had some ideas, we had some potential problems reviewed by Wojciech. Now we will welcome on stage someone who will tell us a little bit more about actual use cases and maybe about the potential future. The future in not so far away galaxy. We will welcome on stage the author of the book that's called No Pain, No Gain, the book that we call the Bodybuilder's Guide for the AI Adopters. Chris Wojewodzic, CEO of Escola, please welcome him on stage.
Hello, how is everyone? I can't hear. How is everyone? You're good? It's 10:30. Okay, good to see you. I had a dream when I was setting up my company that is easy to remember because it's written on my head, that will be actually a research company based in Poland. There are not so many research companies done in Poland. We are great at analytical minds, great engineers here. There are lots of body leasing, team extension companies, but I had this dream when buying Escola 5 years ago, to actually do research. And thanks to AI, this dream is coming true. So this presentation will be basically presentation of the case studies that we don't have NDA on. So you'll see what actually medium-sized, 100 people company can do over last 3 years in the area of AI. And we are not an AI native, so we are not 11 Labs or a company that actually produces a software dedicated that needs extra rounds of investment. So I just go through case studies that we do with our clients. But let's start with a little bit of visualization at this moment. You guys are going on the Formula 1 race, and the question is it possible to take 15 cars? You're going on the race. Is it possible to take 15 cars? They're all super fast. All the drivers are super skilled. And, well, it is. Only when it's really bad weather. Only when it's rain, you know, there is big smoke of the vapor coming from tires. And that's actually the quote of one of the best racers. And I think this is the time, the smoke of AI, the two wars we have, one in Ukraine, another one in Israel, you know, the economic downturn, high interest rates that stop startup investment. That is the time when you actually, your company can overtake other companies. Because it is not a great time, it is rain. We had a great introduction of what AI is. So just for me, AI is quite a broad term that encompasses both machine learning and language processing, computer vision, and robotics, which is the most advanced. And for me, it is a long way before we achieve anything that Elon Musk is talking about. So as you see on the next slide, we're actually in the AI era of text. What was the first big thing that everyone have heard in AI? A chat. So that was the beginning of internet. Internet 2.0 maybe. A text era. So you input text and then you get more text. No magic, large language model. And if you think about audio, that you simulate a voice, of course it's much harder to do, but it's still usually based on text. To do what you have a second last to take from audio to text, it is also possible. But to create actually a video, text to video thing, extremely difficult. Of course, we are all excited when you see a video made from a prompt. But guys, have you really seen these videos? Like, would you go for a cinema and paid $10 to see a video generated entirely by AI? No way. We are really many years from there. And you can see why we are in the text era, that the autonomous driving of cars that seem to be quite not far away, maybe 10 years ago, when Tesla was building its momentum, we're still not nearly there. I'm happy to see that Tesla is still selling its promised full autonomous driving for 40,000, probably $10,000, but we are still far away. Why? Because there are nuances that only human mind can do. And I'll be talking about this nuance is emotion, this nuance is also cognition. You know what's the biggest difference between us and your mobile phones have millions of transistors. And they have cameras, but they don't have eyes. Okay, they have microphones, but they don't have ears. And our brains is also millions, billions of transistors, but they're all integrated pretty good with our senses. And that makes us self-conscious that machines are not. Even if we feel like ChatGPT is kind of empathizing with us, this is not true, entirely not true. So what I'm trying to indicate here, that we are still really in the text-based era. Maybe in 10, maybe in 15 years, we'll be able to actually go from actually interacting with the machine on the completely different level. But even if you think about computer, what is computer? It's the vision of the television, and then the keyboard is actually, the typing machine. And even a mobile phone is a typing machine on a screen, and then a screen. Nothing new. So we are in the text era. That's what I'm trying to say. And I want you to take a look. Is it possible? That my prediction is that the next years, like this year was about ChatGPT, the next years will be about co-pilots. And please be careful what is happening with Microsoft PowerPoint co-pilots, Microsoft Office co-pilots, and the same in Google. I think it will be the biggest breakthrough, because now we have lots of new startups, half of them are shown here, but actually integration of these machine models into big solutions will be the next big thing. Okay, so let's see what we've actually done over last years. With a budget and also the success rate that I tried to assess whether it was successful or not. So starting with the first one, I will go into more details with them. But I will telling you about this project, I will tell you what was the question we were trying to tackle. So for the first game, the mobile game that we were trying to personalize, it was the notion that every one of us learns differently. So some of us have good memories about a teacher that was really rough and was saying, you cannot do it, you will fail on it. And this way, people are motivated. Some of them, other people, need to be motivated. You can do it. You're actually a great student. Some of us like to learn in the morning. Some of us is better in the evening. And also, different gamification methods work on us. It's been used partly by Duolingo. Who of you uses or knows Duolingo? Very good. But you know that learning languages is not so very trendy because machines will do it for us, right? I do Duolingo as well. It's fun. But they use it only for content creation for now, okay? But we wanted to actually make it super personal. So we created this game that looks like a cyberpunk environment, which is not easy task by itself, and we created all different sets of teachers that would be personal to your needs. Okay, but let's be honest. After spending over 2 million euros, we completely failed. There is no correlation either how much we trained the machine to show that Father Diliach was better for you and Anne, a very nice and subtle teacher, was better for you, or in the morning you learn better than in the evening. There was no correlation with any results. Probably there was something else. So of course we applied for another grant that this time we are going to make people actually speak to the phone, like normal, regular discussion. Like, can you actually, like you speak with Alexa, but it will help you with some notions, and you play this game actually using entirely your voice, which is a natural way of us interacting with machines. Well, it was even worse. To call it a failure was very nice. It was complete failure. It's not easy, actually, for us to naturally speak the machines and learn language. Of course, we can, if we come back here, we can easily translate text into audio and back. That's why we translate things. But to make machines truly comprehend what we mean, what we intend to do, is a thing that is, I think, at least a decade in front of us. You will check my assumption later. There was a third project, it's still ongoing, but it seems to be somehow successful, is to detect autism in young kids. You know, autism is a syndrome, a spectrum that is now suffered by around 10% of kids. And, sorry, I will come to that later. So we created we detected that there is correlation between kids using this program, quite popular in Poland, having over 100,000 users, with educational music called Pomelody, that some teachers said, we see correlations that our kids with autism spectrum, they are somehow playing with this music. So basically it was well explained by previous speaker that training machines is about set of data. So you need two sets of data. Kids with autism spectrum, which is harder to find, that are already, we know they are tested and with a psychiatrist, and we have this confirmed, and then kids without autism spectrum. And then by lots of iterations, we train the machine to detect by how they react to different senses, especially to music, reading their gestures, reading their mimics, whether they have actually an autism spectrum. And I can tell you a funny anecdote for this, that we first applied for this research grant saying that we will detect autism spectrum and we get 0 points. And then we applied for the research grant saying that we will help to diagnose the children so they actually go to be diagnosed by a professional, and then we get maximum amount of points. So it's very important to remember that machines will never do final assumptions. We have only suggestions. You know probably the rule of 80 and 20, that 80% of work usually requires 20% of time, and vice versa. The last 20% is hard to achieve. So for me, all the AI tools are actually using this, rule that ChatGPT gives us 80% of the work done, but actually to do the remaining 20% takes lots of time. Okay? And just I wanted to show you how the personalization looks like now. And I was talking a lot about that we are in the text era. So this is what we've got. This is state-of-the-art Khan Academy, Kamigo tutor. Anyone heard about this? Okay, some people. It's absolutely great. So basically you can ask it. I'm explaining this as the voice is not playing. So basically, instead of asking the ready question, you can ask for suggestions, how to solve a particular math equation. And this Kamigo gives you a suggestion like, what should we do? How to find x in this equation, okay? If you can find out x, like how to solve it, how you can play with this. And to comparison, there is a movie like, what would ChatGPT give? Ready answer. So we don't want a ready answer. That's what I'm really afraid in education, that if the kids tend to go to ready answers, it would be extremely difficult for them to actually study in the long term. I mean, I'm not against calculators or using ChatGPT. I'm a big proponent of it. But the problem is, if we always tend to believe this, you guys are all adults, so you know that if you look for answers in ChatGPT, you then test them, you make sure that they are right. So this is the state of the art. There is good TED with Salman Khan telling about this. Other thing we co-created is actually security testing. AI is very good in looking for patterns in big sets of data. And normally you would use security for banking, like to detect frauds. If you guys don't go to Zanzibar very often and someone starts to make lots of transactions from Zanzibar, your bank would probably halt your account and say, are you sure it is actually the user or is the account stolen? So this is pretty normal, and no analyst can actually take such a big data amount. So we started to do the same, but at the level of production of the app. So basically, imagine we are programming an app, but before it goes to the Google Store or Apple Store, it would actually check all the libraries, whether in other apps it crashed for some reason. And this is pretty good because most of the libraries we use, especially in Flutter that is made by Google, it's pretty well documented. The libraries are pretty good documented. We know which of them are obsolete, and the program, the Copilot, knows which ones are actually implemented in our program. So it's pretty effective. The last one I want to show as a case study is this green part is pretty important. So we call this solution a recommender. The problem with e-learning is usually there is a teacher that sets lots of exercises, and then how you actually know which of them are actually effective? Well, you know after you tested up or you completed all the exercises. The thing is that you know it only after you completed all the exercises. So for AI, it's pretty easy to do this reverse engineering. So knowing what exercises you are using out of, in our case, HP5 technology, we know that using this type of tasks to this particular matter, we have some predictions that normally the completion rate of this type of exercise would be 45%. Would you like to change it to some other exercise? And we train this with, well, lots of university students. It works somehow. So it's, I think, a future of it, and we have more ideas how to actually make e-learning better, and I will tell this to you just later. Okay, so as I said, in AI, it's worth to remember because most of the companies have been very successful to it, but actually, to be successful, you need to go to the graveyard of failures. I spoke about this many times, that actually in research, and the same in business, it is actually stepping from one failure to another and not giving up on the way. And I've failed a lot, both in AI and in business. Speaking about business, we work also with the big companies, which is, to my surprise, they are much more saving on the investment to AI. So we work with Inoji that is called EO now, Biedronka, that most of the Polish people know it is Jeronimo Martins in Portugal, and the company that produces yogurt, and that's called Danone. And what we did was basically the Biedronka identified the problem that if the refrigerator fails, all the food is corrupted. Basically, you cannot sell it, but if you sell it, well, that's even worse, because people get poisoned, and then you get sued. So it is a big problem. So you need to check the refrigerators twice a day. It is an obligation. In some countries, it's even obligation by law to do it, at least twice a day or more often. Have you ever been to the toilet in like a petrol station? Any of you guys? So you see that the people sign every half an hour that's been checked. And whenever I see the really messy toilet, I think, no one was during half an hour. So once I've witnessed this situation that a guy came and did like 10 signatures at the same time. So now let's go back to the refrigerators. So do you think that Biedronka or other shop guys, they don't do somehow others than checking it twice a day or more? Because it was all done in paper. So, surprise, it happened that after 2 days it was discovered and the refrigerator has not been working for 2 days. Too bad. So how to make it fairly easy? Just use some AI, which is in this case fairly easy. All the working refrigerators, they have an indication of the numbers about the temperature and the state, etc. So just make a guy, instead of signing, to put a cell phone and show the numbers to the cell phone. You have geolocation, so you know the tag, you know which shop it is, you know how many refrigerators they are located, so it is fairly easy to do. And we have 100% security that actually someone is checking it because it is all sent to server, otherwise you get a warning. So I said it was super easy thing to do. It costed very little money and it saved probably some of the serious situation in Biedronka. Pretty same case for digital matters in OG now E.ON, that, well, back in the days, I'm not sure how it is now, but back in the days there was a guy who came to your office and to your house and he would write down what are the numbers on the digital matter. But, you know, there was a thing called COVID, so this guy couldn't come so often, but you could ask clients to do the same.
You can start.
But, well, it very often looked like this.
To summarize all your recent...
In Poland, there is a standard of certified 40 digital matters. So this was, again, I would call more of a failure, and the project was halted because it was not only readable for machines, but very often these digital matters were hidden under some, you know, spider webs, and it was difficult to see them with a human eye.
For example, say I'm a sales
about digital machine recognition. So we're coming to the point how to do this digital transition, how to actually implement it in your company. That is not so obvious what to start. That's probably some of you may ask yourself, how to start this digital transition, how to actually make it happen. So many people would start to do some training and actually start to understand the digital science. Or when we see it is fairly easy to play with ChatGPT, which is a great start, but how it actually fits our needs. So I would suggest these 3 steps that we also do with companies like Danone. So first, let's find what are the business needs. You know, to learn how to do AI is fairly easy. You may learn it over a couple of years, sometimes a couple of weeks you can learn prompt engineering, but the business need, it takes at least a decade to truly understand, to be a good business analyst, to understand what are the business needs. It's much harder to understand how to make a big, mature company like Danone to be better. Not to play with some silly thing like, okay, let's find a new brand or for yogurt or new taste thanks to AI-generated thing, but something that is truly a breakthrough. Second thing would be an internal training, so
for example,
kind of
say I'm
meeting
a sales
technology and business needs, and only then looking for tools and roadmap for this AI change. And from my experience, very often people start with the third step. So they are somehow fascinated with some tools and they try to implement it to their company. That is an issue. So basically, what I see also doing lots of this analysis to my clients, that nowadays, using all this ChatGPT, Tab9, GitHub Copilot, very oftentimes you can solve the problem on the spot. So actually this is a great power for a person that is implementing this technology, that you can solve this problem on the spot during the analysis without any data science. You have tools for it now. So I think this is the biggest breakthrough, and I'm pretty sure that the era of big custom software development is going to an end quite soon. So I told you I had a dream to scale up Escola as a company that would provide lots of research, and it is luckily, thanks to what happened with the ChatGPT revolution, ChatGPT era, it became quite popular. If you notice, the total for years 2020-2022 was about 6.7 million. Now only this 2023, we delivered projects, proposal for almost 12 million. And this is, what are we working on now in this year? What we are trying to achieve? So we had some experience with children with autism spectrum. So how about not only detecting them, but also suggesting a therapy? So if you use ChatGPT for a therapy, which I'm sure anyone who is psychologist or into pedagogy have tried, they're pretty effective. But there is one issue. They're totally mixing different methodologies. They would use behavioral psychology, cognitive psychology, they would use Montessori, Reggio Emilia, alongside with other theories, because they are so full of wisdom. So they know all the methods by heart, let's say. The thing is, we need to direct, if you want to use only certain methods, we need to use so-called vector that kind of directs them towards certain knowledge. And I think because I tried to create many of the new large language models, or twist an existing language model, like you can take Llama and twist it to your needs, it's much better to actually use this vector to direct existing model, and it's also much cheaper. So I recommend you to read more about this back at home. If you see the tendencies there, I'm doing this project with guys from Silicon Valley, mostly Berkeley. So this is actually what is now getting really momentum in Silicon Valley. Then the second project is about saving energy. So maybe it looks very complex, but it's actually very simple. Basically, it's about putting the right detectors in the right places. But, okay, let's do it on a very practical example. So probably you guys, I hope you guys, don't eat at night. So you don't need to heat your kitchen between, let's say, 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that was exactly this solution is doing. It's basically exclude as part of the house, same can be in office, that are not used in certain, during certain time, and only reheat it when it's needed. Also, it can turn off certain devices during certain times. But to learn your behavior is extremely difficult. But we also, this is pretty well-known methodology, nothing new, but we not only play with different devices, but also how to place them in the area so people make better behavior around these electronic devices. So that's the second thing. And the third thing we are trying to do, which is totally new and fascinating for me, that all of the mobile phones you have, they have ML kit. Every time if you go for a Google presentation of new phone or Apple, they have these ML processors. So what we are trying to achieve is actually that this thing you have in your pocket would, using by an app, instead of like this written on this picture, you're using this on the big computer and transfers to different users, to the group of users, you would have individual preference based on your behavior, based on what you do, because you have your phone in your pocket. And that's going to be pretty amazing if we actually achieve that, to do machine learning training of particular machine model on a phone. Okay, and the last example that is very close to my heart is detection emotions. That is not very easy for us to detect emotions of other people. According to different research, we are between 70 and 80% accurate in detecting emotions of other people. So we are not always right. Well, I'm not always right what my wife has in mind. I try to use ChatGPT, and it usually says, wash dishes. But it's not easy. So in China, they have these EEG scanners, which is, for me, a little bit distracting. I mean, what can you do if a child lost attention for a bit? But, come on, guys, on a Zoom calls, it is terrible. I mean, we know when the guy is actually scrolling Facebook and you ask the question a second time. And say, can you repeat the question? Sorry. So it's pretty common. And the same applies to the lectures we give online or when you do e-learning course. So we applied for this grant to actually detect every frame, like every 3 or 5 seconds, to detect the frame of what are our emotions during the period we are learning. To detect what are our emotions, where we are sad, where we are bored. There are 7, 8 basic emotions that all humans have. And according to current research, between 70 and 90% is the result of the machines reading our emotions. So now, based on our gestures, our mimic, we actually have a similar percentage of a success rate of reading emotions in humans, even using regular camera in your notebook. This is amazing for me. The smallest frame we can do is 320 by 320. So we can still detect some emotions. So the last question is, what will be the future of AI? And, you know, my problem, my personal problem and suffering is that most of the best AI researchers sit in TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram and make your attention and my attention to be sticking to these phones. The success of TikTok is mainly the usage of the heavy machine learning, I would say, to detect which of the short movies they use, they actually get our attention. My bright future of it, that it will eventually kill ourselves, because when you have influencers, their only job is actually to show their butt from the funny angle, or their boobs. It's so easy to AI generate it, that finally the people who actually do only this to become influencers are going to be overtaken by AI. So whenever they say, World Economic Forum in Davos, they say, oh, some jobs will be lost to AI, I really do hope that some influencers will be lost to this type of AI machine learners. But what I'm coming to as a conclusion is, it depends on us what the data scientists of today are doing. If they do, TikTok, how to stick our attention, how to do silly things, or we do some educational stuff, some smart stuff that will make our education better, that will make us to save energy, and all depends on us. Thank you, guys. And I also have a QR code that directs to the book we've written, and you can buy it. It's actually divided to 8 parts about, how to use AI in sales, how to use AI in management, how to use AI in education. So it's a very practical book. I'm not telling you how to do linear regression. You can read it in other great books. But how to actually, and the book is in Polish and called Wydajniej. The QR code is terrible. I tried to AI generate it, and trust me, AI is terrible for QR codes. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Chris. And the clicker, please. It's right to run away with it, yeah. Wow. The especially interesting part, emotions in education. I would be very skeptical about it. It would probably detect only hate most of the time. I've heard this anecdote that school is the place where young, promising people are taught to lose their attention. So it might not only be the TikTok. But the next question is, if education can create something more than just another brick in the wall. Well, if you choose your educator wisely, then probably yes. That's why we're going to visit the next guest on stage, who will talk a little bit about the AI in business and for business. So please welcome Ahmed Hamouda, on stage, the CEO of NABDA. Ahmed, please join us. There we go. I'm switching the microphones, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I think I'm the first international speaker, so I'm from Tunisia. It's in North Africa. It's not Indonesia. We have mountains and snow and desert and beach, so you feel free to visit. So today it's not about, I will not talk about ChatGPT. I will talk about tools that you can use, and it will not bias your business, that actually work. I have at now 4 businesses. One of them is in Polish. It's the Polish Tunisian Chamber of Commerce, because I'm a natural connector, so feel free to connect afterwards in the coffee break. And NABDA is an innovation management consulting firm. We work with Deloitte and the US Embassy mostly on helping entrepreneurs launch in emerging markets. I use AI, but also we produce AI in Vistazy, which is generative vision AI startup. We make smart mirrors for cosmetics and aesthetic surgery. One of the challenges that we had is when we tried to train our own made model, we had the problem of getting good pictures and pictures that are real. That was our first and most challenge. So we went from 2 million pictures to only 70,000 because it was the only good data that we had. We launched our first beta version last week. If you are a retailer like Rossmann or AIBA, feel free to reach out later for a demo. And we used some of the AI model to generate in Seal, which is agri-food. We make dates with revised recipes based on traditional and modern. Today, I will divide the presentation in 4 parts. Workspace tools, things that you can use every day for different kinds of businesses. Second, how you can use AI tools for networking to boost your wide range of networking and make AI work for you while you are sleeping. The third part is response and search engines. What is the state of the art, what's the difference, and what you need to know about them. The first is just how I use AI in my daily work and how it makes me drive on business growth. So, for AI, artificial intelligence, it all started in around the 50s, and the first, it was John McCarthy who coined the name artificial intelligence. But up to this day, we can divide it into 2 parts, the low tech and the high tech, and I will tell you in the next slide why. And to have AI working, we need to have a good computing power. And we're starting to have more access to democratized computing power since the 70s. Because around that time, only people who worked in universities had access to mainframes. So after the source of personal computers, that the computing power became more and more democratized. And around the 80s, it was the year of artificial intelligence. Can you guess which most industry used for the first time artificial intelligence in their business? Narcology? Pharmacology. No, there was something before. Okay, hold that thought. So in around 2000, we saw the landmark of AI establishment, which is achieved, that was used by Amazon and Google. And it was the airline industry. Airplanes used to make autopilots in low-tech, mechanical, since the 1914. It's a little bit messed up. So the first autopilot was in 1914. And it was mechanical. It was when there was too much wind on the wings, it changed the direction and it adapted. It was wholly mechanical. And around 1947, they started shifting it from analog to electronical. And we're starting to say about more of the essence and starting about high tech. So really, the first uses of AI, it was really long ago. It's over 100 years for low tech, and over 80 years for high tech. For the workspace tools, most of the people, they use either Google or Microsoft. Microsoft has been the first to launch the Office suite since, let's say, more of the 90s, and they started reinventing it along the way for cloud. But which one would you use, and when? So if you are a small business up to 100 collaborators, it's better to use the Google Workspace stack. It will cost you less, and it will be much more efficient, and the learning curve would be less. And the AI features that you can find in the Google Workspace is the inbox translator on the go, especially if you have an international business, it's very handy. It is a little bit troublesome when you use it on Outlook, so it doesn't really work that well. It has also some smart text suggestions when you are trying to write your everyday emails, and it learns along the way how you write, and it will adapt in your way of writing the emails, and it will suggest you sometimes small pieces of your already used previously text. There is also the ER helper for note-taking in the meetings that is automatically generated and attached to your calendar, and through that you can automatically assign tasks to your teammates. So it will help you a lot of time. I don't know if you heard about Slack. Slack, they tried to, Spotify, they reduced up to 2/3 of their meeting because they lost too much money of that, and they used AI tools to do it. And most of the time, they removed the meetings that are over half an hour. So if you work for half an hour to make a meeting, you need to be also fast to make the notes, and also very fast to make the tasks. So it's all attached to it. And also for the tasks management, so you have automatically synced to your calendar, and you have it automatically also to your phone. And the learning curve is almost instant, so you don't need to go through specific training to use the Google Workspace. And the most important thing when you use cloud products, especially in the workplace, is how well it integrates with other tools. Because, for instance, you need a CRM. The best CRM that integrates with the Google Workspace at the moment is HubSpot. And at the time, they were discussing about Google acquiring HubSpot. So, and through HubSpot, when you have your landing page in the HubSpot and you will receive a message from anyone who wants to contact you, you will have it on your Gmail box directly, and you can forward it to anyone in your team. So it will save you a lot of time doing it. If you want to integrate with Zapier, Zapier is an integration tool that can integrate you to different kinds of software on the web, from Tableau for the generating database to even Excel sheet to forms, you name it. And it integrates very well with the Google Workspace. And Calendly to manage all your bookings, because at the moment, the Google Calendar, there is a booking feature, but it's not as well developed as Calendly. Because through Calendly, for instance, you can automate the payment. So if you are, for instance, a consultant and you are selling consultancy services, you can only, for instance, allow the people to book you once they pay through Calendly. And for the Microsoft is mostly, when we used it for as an international company. The first time that I used it on a production, it was, I think, 8 years ago. It was with Deloitte, so we had people from Washington, people from Europe, people from Africa, and we had to collaborate on a different stack of documents. It was very hard to sync, but it was only solved through SharePoint, because SharePoint is much more advanced in document management system, which is lacking in the Google Workspace at the moment. And through that, you can use also Power Workflow when you want to, for instance, say if this testing team finished their work, you need to forward to the production, then quality assurance, then testing. And you can make all that workflow simply with SharePoint. Also, if you have a lot of data in Excel sheets, mainly, or in Microsoft SQL Server, you can use Power BI. Power BI is the most complete business intelligence suite at the moment. Other people, they can use, hard coding using R or other codes like Python, but Power BI is mainstream, it's easier to use, and it integrates with all your documents that you already have on your SharePoint, and you can even automate reports that can be sent monthly or quarterly. So it saves you a lot of time. Also, there is other features that, the good thing about the Microsoft suite is it's a complete ecosystem. For instance, now they introduced Microsoft Loop, which is, if you are familiar to Notion, it's Notion similar. And you have it already there. They have over 34 only for productivity software, meaning like Excel and Word and PowerPoint. Outlook, I'm not a very fan of it. I've used it online and on the desktop. I had a lot of issues with it, especially when you switch time zones. It made me look very bad in some meetings because I missed it. And that's why I moved more into Google Workspace at the moment. But some part of my business is still on the SharePoint. The good thing about Microsoft also is the Teams. Microsoft Teams, it has, let's say, the complete features, so you wouldn't need to buy anything else for video conferencing. It can help you have AI take notes. So it will translate the voice to text and save it automatically. You can record and share it with your people. You can make on-the-fly transcode. And also, for instance, for the note-taking, for Google Meets, you need to have something like the apps flyer, something else. So you need to pay extra. But once you buy the €6 per month for just the E3 license on Microsoft Office, you can have what is worth on $18 per month on the Google Workspace if your work is extending. So you need to know which one is used. If your workload is not that heavy, go for Google Workspace. If you are starting to have over 30 people and you have a lot of documents and a lot of reports, Microsoft Office is the way to go. And Zapier on top of every layer that you would choose to integrate and streamline the information. Because now we are talking more about the knowledge era. And knowledge is about transforming your current information into processed knowledge through your whole company. And if you have a knowledge broker, once you achieve more than 30 employees and you have a lot of business to do, the knowledge broker will be overwhelmed with the amount of data that he has to get from the company, transfer to other people, what should stay in the company as a secret, what can be led to outside. And through Zapier, for instance, if you receive someone who completes a form, you will receive a notification. If you have some meetings to have, you can send automatically SMSs, calendar invites, all of that, and it's integrated through Zapier. Then presentation tools. Everyone is fond of making presentations, especially if you are a startup and making pitch decks all the way. These three mainly that uses AI. The sum of it, Beautiful AI is the first one that has introduced proper presentations using AI. It means that you don't deal anything with the layout. It's automatically done. For Prezi or Canva, you can manually try to move it around. For Beautiful.ai, no. It's done automatically on the best way that is visible for the eye. And it saves you a lot of time doing layouting or choosing what is best for you or anything. Also, it has a good access to a lot of images, so you can just search through it and you can put. Prezi, it's more of a deep diving presentation if you have over 30 slides and you are afraid that people get lost or get boring and you need to zoom out and zoom in different pieces of the presentation, Prezi is the way to go. But Canva seems to have it all in one place, and it's much cheaper. It's around €3 for the team of 5. And the best thing about Canva, it's mainly made for small and medium companies. You can make your whole graphical charter using Canva. You don't need to use any kind of software else. And it's very good for bootstrapping. If you want to launch a business, you can do it over a weekend using Canva. I mean, creating your logo, choosing the fonts, choosing the colors, making your website, hosting your website, and even sharing it with up to 5 people. The AI feature that you can have generative fill using AI. If you have a picture of your team, but you didn't have a proper background to use, you can use your smartphone, take it, and then using Canva, it will fill a proper background for you. You won't have to have, for instance, Adobe license to do it. Also, the layout automatic places, it helps you guide it, but you need to drag it using the mouse. And it also automatically adapts to your brand. If you have, for instance, 3 brands, and you can manage them all through Canva, and you want to have the same template, but choose different branding for each time, it switches automatically all the templates for you. So it is best value for team. It's versatile use. Also, they have social media planner, presentations, brand creation, all of that. And you have total control on your designs up to a certain point. It is also budget friendly. And you don't really need any time to learn it. It's quite intuitive and easy to use. and the learning curve is almost instantly. Okay, what I use for networking? I think I used over 30 tools on the past year just for networking, and it was always hard, you know, to get the one that gives you best value. My favorite so far is Dripify. Dripify is mainly made for growing your network on LinkedIn. So you need to connect it to your LinkedIn account. You don't need to have premier account on LinkedIn. You can have it for free. This one, it costs $70 per month. If you can use it per month or per year, it's up to you. What you need to give it, you need to give it either an Excel sheet in CSV format for all your leads, or if you don't know how to do it, just go to your LinkedIn, go to search, and make the search query that you want. For instance, if I want to look out for IT companies in Poland, even if they are first or second connections, you copy-paste the URL to this platform, and then you can set a workflow for how to talk with these people. So for instance, the first day, send them a big message. This is the opportunity that I'm sending to you. If they don't respond in 1 day, you can endorse them to get their attention. You can, after 2 days, make a follow. Then after 3 days, send them another message, which is different. And you can use, for instance, dear at, and it will take the name of the contact that you had. So it will be more personalized, and it won't feel more robotic. And you can have up to 550 for each lead for the personal, for the first license. And with this one, I combine it with Folk. Folk, I used Octopus, I used HubSpot, I used a ton of CRMs. Folk is the most one that you can integrate it with Chrome, and it automatically adds a small icon in each connection that you have in a LinkedIn profile. And once you add them, you can mention where you have met them, what kind of business what you want to do with them, what kind of follow-up that you want to do, and it's a complete CRM, and you can start for free with it. For networking, basically online, this is my main tool. And it will help you grow your LinkedIn profile at the maximum of the license that you have with LinkedIn. It depends on what you have. And it's not flagship by LinkedIn. So it really preserves the limits, because I was flagged twice and it's not easy to get it back. So for the responses engines and the search engines, sorry, it's a little bit messed up. Google is the way to go, because Google, over the 25 years, they knew how to renew themselves and reinvent themselves. What is the difference between search engine and a response engine? A search engine is, back in the 2000s, it's some program that is able to crawl the web and make you index the responses, the search, make you propose to you the perfect website according to your query. If you are looking for the best AI models, for instance, now, it will give you a few websites. Now we are talking more about response engine. It will help you save time. Instead of going and clicking on each website and going through that page and seeing if this is the really website that you're looking for, it will give you a summary. And it will give you a proposition of question-like. So this is the response engine. And Google has been used for over 80% on the web, and it has over 90% market share. Bing and Yahoo, they fall down a little bit down. And Bing now is using more the GPT for its response engine that is embedded into Microsoft Edge. That's why it's gaining more and more popularity. And if you care about your privacy, DuckDuckGo is the one to go. And DuckDuckGo is still more of a search engine than a response engine. So you need to go through each website and verify if it's what you're looking for or not. So now, if you are having your website, anywhere you have your website is like your business card that is online. And most of the people, they talk about SEO, the search engine optimization, but also you need to look about AEO, answer engine optimization. Is your website really made for it or not? And it's two different ways of treating the website and the layout, and how you put the content there. How much content do you need to put? And you know that by 2027, 70% of the content on the web is made on video. So people now search more on YouTube than Google, because they want to have someone telling them what to do, rather than a machine giving them a response. So it's always about the human at the end. So does your website have a video that is put on YouTube or not? This is part of how the answer engine optimization make a calculation on which they should use your website as a reference or not. So this is currently what I use on every day at the moment. What is paying is the Google Workspace, GPFI. I use LinkedIn Premium, but you don't need to use it. The rest is for free. So if you have a budget of 20 euros per month, you can launch a business and provide, value to your clients and go global. That's all for me. I went fast, but fast and furious. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. Feel free to contact me. And let's AI drive value for your business. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, so it's now a coffee break, but since I have your attention, you can use Meetlify, the app that is better than Tinder in terms of these relations here, because you can find partner and not get screwed. That's my last joke for today. Thanks guys, we start sharp 12 o'clock, so please be here if you want. The next portion is about the actual tools and adoption of those tools. Have a great coffee break ahead. Bye-bye.